Okay, friends, we're live. Good to see you here on this Tuesday evening. We've got a lot of thunderstorms beginning to crank up here with all of this heat. Some of them have become a little bit more intense, so wanted to jump on and cover that for you guys live. Good to see everyone. First of all, do me a quick favor. Make sure that you guys can hear me. So, Garrett, Gaming with Jamie, Farah, just give me a thumbs up in the chat that you guys can actually hear me right now. I had to make one more adjustment before I jump down. I just want to make sure that I'm not talking to myself at this point in time. And we'll move on from that. So I'm going to assume you guys can hear me. Appreciate you tuning in. Garrett, how you doing? Jamie is in Arcadia. Bombo's got the lightning going on in Lake Apopka. And Farah joining in as well. Yep. All right. Appreciate it, Garrett. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Just had to make one quick adjustment. Wanted to make sure we had that. All right. So, gang. Again, live here on CFLW, covering some stronger storms beginning to develop. First of all, as Bombo was mentioning, there's a lot of lightning with these storms. I mean, we have obviously this intense heat. We still have a lot of subsidence or sinking air, so we're not getting a lot of thunderstorm activity today, but where they've developed, they've pulsed up and they've become quite strong. So we have three different special weather statements to go over, and then we'll kind of talk about how things are evolving. First of all, up here, the northern sides of Lake County, you have a special weather statement until 7:15 for winds of 50 miles an hour and some quarter-size hail. This is the actual advisory or the special weather statement from the National Weather Service in Melbourne. Again, 50 and pea-sized hail. Paisley, Pittman, Forest Hills, Lake Catherine, and Lake Dorr area in that one. We have a much larger one that was just issued for most of the rest of Lake County. That one is going to go all the way until 7:45, 55-mile-an-hour winds and some quarter-sized hail. So this one is teetering on severe thunderstorm criteria. All you got to do is get to winds of 60 miles an hour. So let's look at that one here. Strong thunderstorm over the Leesburg airport, but look, there's multiple areas with that. Winds of 50 to 55 and pea-sized hail. Leesburg, Eustis, Tavares, Lady Lake, and Mount Dora. And then we have another special weather statement that sneaks into the western sides of Orange County, including places like the Ocoee area and Winter Garden, back down towards Hamlin, even really close to Lake Buena Vista at the hour. Now, that one's only in effect for the next 6 minutes because the bulk of that has moved into Lake County, but again, you're looking at a severe thunderstorm or a strong thunderstorm over Winter Garden, basically not moving, producing winds of 50 miles an hour. So the main threat are going to be some strong, potentially destructive winds. There has been some hail, though. I was actually talking to Bobby Lean from Lean Law, and of course, you guys know that the sponsor of the channel, the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. Storms get into your area. It's storm season. You get any kind of damage, they can walk you through every step of the insurance claim process, offering free consultation and policy reviews. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. I was speaking with Bobby on the phone earlier today, and as we were talking, he's like, hey, I got a friend who lives in Oviedo. He said he had a little bit of hail. So if you guys live in the Oviedo area, if you've seen a little bit of hail, let me know in the comment section below. Also, he said that there was a trampoline on the road. I think it was Lockwood Drive, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, this is the environment that we're in, that these storms are pulsing up. They're really very concentrated, but where they're getting going, they are producing some extensive winds, some potentially destructive winds, and a lot of lightning. I mean, the live lightning count here, that's pretty solid for just a few thunderstorms to producing 75 strikes. Let me show you the live camera out of the Winter Garden area. Oh, don't you go down on me again. Let me see if it pops back up. If not, I've got a way to fix it. There's a technical thing that's going on with this Winter Garden camera that is annoying, and we're working to fix it. It's just a setting that I have to change. Anyway, that's the camera from Conway. Obviously, you're looking off to the east from there, and it's looking fantastic there from Conway. I'm just going to switch over. I know it's going to be blank for just 1 second, but work with me here. I literally have to punch one button, and it's going to come back up. Oh, it's annoying. It'll be there. There it is. That's a live look to Winter Garden. Now, again, this camera is looking west, so we're looking into the special weather statement in Lake County. Sheets of rain. There's been a ton of lightning developing with this And again, this storm is very stationary, just before the 7 o'clock hour in Winter Garden. This is trying to push away. There hasn't actually been a lot of wind in Winter Garden, but you can just see the streaks of rain falling down with that. And again, from this camera, we'll see some of those lightning strikes, again, looking west into Lake County, where we do have those special weather statements. Let me get over to the chat real quick, say hey to everyone. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Shelly in the house. Hey, Sean, how are you doing? Garrett said the lightning pulling him off the golf course there in North Carolina. Yeah, a lot of that. Larry had a bad storm, St. Pete, yesterday. Yeah, there were a couple of storms right on the US 19 corridor, up and down our west coast that developed and then worked their way offshore. How's Tampa? Tampa's looking pretty good right now, Pat. You had a couple of thunderstorms a little bit earlier in the day in your area, but right now we're looking pretty good there. Tampa, by the way, if you guys hadn't heard, their feels like temperature today hit 120 degrees for the first time ever. How about that? Feels like temperature in St. Pete and in Tampa both hit 120 today. They had a couple of thunderstorms earlier, but they have now pushed offshore and dissipated. And again, these storms, they're not lasting very long. But where they're developing, they're quite significant right now. And you can see the thunderstorm over the Leesburg area has now produced winds of 40 miles an hour. So they're beginning to pulse up. And that's going to be the threat. You're going to see some gusty winds coming out of this from the Fruitland Park area, Leesburg, Bassville Park towards Umatilla. Again, I'll put this into motion so you guys can see this is sort of just kind of eking its way west, but there's even a little bit of a back build. And if you notice, the new special weather statement here is actually a little bit north and east. There's very little steering currents in the atmosphere right now for these storms to move anywhere quickly. So where it is storming, where we've had the very active weather, expect that to continue here at least through the 7 o'clock hour. So the new special weather statement is a continuation of the same one, but now it does include places like De Leon Springs, up towards the 19 area as well, across 40. So let's get the new one here from the Weather Service office in Melbourne. This one's gonna go until 7:30. Strong thunderstorm southwest of Barberville, nearly stationary. Winds of 50 and some pea-sized hail. So that's going to be that one. Let me reset the look here real fast. And again, there you go. So no severe thunderstorm warnings, but all special weather statements. We're just below that. But if you notice, and again, what the lightning count is the amount of lightning strikes in this particular view over just the past 15 minutes. So you have some pretty healthy lightning getting going. Now we're going to lose two special weather statements here in about 1 minute. We'll still have the main one in Lake County and then the one that was just issued for this same storm, but a little bit farther north and east with that. We're starting to see a few additional showers developing in the southern side of Orlando outside of this special weather statement. So the Gotha area, Windermere, back towards Oak Ridge and Belle Isle, and this could be the next area, Tangelo Park, that could begin to pulse up a little bit as well, right across I-4. The executive airport had a 23-mile-an-hour wind. When you guys see these fuchsia colors, that is heavy rain, more than likely a little bit of hail. So the Montverde area of Lake County, a little bit of hail developing there on the southern shoreline of Lake Apopka. You have heavy rainfall, Groveland and Claremont, rough across 50, Colonial Drive, 27 up towards the Turnpike, that's 91 on the map, up 19 towards Asatula. And again, here we're picking up on the radar the opportunity for some hail. Maybe even up to an inch in size. That would be certainly larger than what the Weather Service office is calling for, but more than likely from Leesburg all the way up towards Umatilla, extensive heavy rain, very gusty winds. Again, at least 40-mile-an-hour winds there, and the opportunity for at least some pea-sized hail. Thunderstorms are developing out of this and pushing towards I-75, towards Lake Bann and Bushnell as well. Again, you live along the west coast, we're looking pretty good right now. You live along the east coast, more than likely going to stay quiet here. A little shower outside of that special weather statement where Daytona Beach had a 24-mile-an-hour wind, but nothing that I expect too much along the coast. You get north towards Jacksonville and Stark and Gainesville, another cluster of stronger storms there as well. You're welcome, Pat. My pleasure to help you guys out there. Always keep an eye on all of Central Florida. At this point in time, it's interior sections. And again, friends, we're not expecting a lot of storm activity for today, but these storms have pulsed up. They produced some hail. They produced some damaging winds. I can show you this as well. The local storm reports over the last 6 hours. Might have to back this up here. See, we did not get, so again, Bobby Lean of the Lean Law Firm, we were talking to the phone earlier, he said he had a friend who lived in Oviedo and he had some pea hail and he also had enough wind that there was a trampoline that wasn't theirs that was on the road. But the executive airport earlier in the day did have a 55-mile-an-hour wind gust. All right, and that was at 4:08. So there were some very healthy outflow winds being produced out of some of the storms. Never a severe thunderstorm warning or anything like that. But again, you had a couple of thunderstorms that were on the stronger side, closer to downtown Orlando. We had a cluster of stronger thunderstorms in portions of Tampa, but there was one special weather statement, but even most of those were a little bit below severe thunderstorm criteria. Now, again, here's your next pulse storm. And what I mean by a pulse storm is they develop rapidly and they die rapidly. All right. They're not going to last long. Of course, we have a camera in Lake Buena Vista in the attractions area. So let's switch over to that real quick and see if that is showing us anything. Live look outside to the Disney area there. And again, appreciate you guys jumping in the chat. Jump on by and say hi. Let me know how you guys are doing. You have a specific question about the forecast, let me know. Appreciate while you're here, hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to CFLW, doing that as well. Again, that's a live look to the attractions. We are just 1 mile from the Magic Kingdom. This camera is looking back to the Disney property. Folks are walking, so hopefully the lightning is not very close. That would not be good, but I don't see anything that far south. That thunderstorm that's trying to develop right now is a little bit more to the north and to the east. So our camera is right here at Lake Buena Vista. There's kind of the next pulse-up thunderstorm where they have now issued a special weather statement. And that is not shocking. When you see these storms going up that rapidly, this is an environment that these storms are now coming off of outflow boundaries, and there's so much heat energy right now. We're trying to break the cap. We're trying to stop, we had subsidence or sinking air earlier in the day. It's beginning to relax a little bit right now, and these thunderstorms are going to go up quickly. I don't expect them to get extremely strong. Maybe an isolated severe storm with winds of 60 miles an hour, but these are just rowdy storms, all right? A heck of a lot of rain, a lot of lightning, noisy storms, and potentially, again, some pea-sized hail. Could potentially be even a little bit larger than that from time to time. So I'll be monitoring that situation for you guys. So you can just see it's getting just a little bit more active right now. And these thunderstorms are going up fast. Now, some of this is holding together. Others will pulse up very quickly and die back down very quickly as well. That's the environment that we're kind of in at this point in time. The other big story has been the heat. These are your live temperatures past 7 o'clock, guys. And again, if you haven't had storms, and again, portions of Polk and Hillsborough County had thunderstorms earlier in the day, so they're rain cooled from their earlier storms back into the 80s, but you still have a lot of low and mid 90s, and feels like temperatures at the hour, those are the dew points, which are outrageously high, but feels like temperatures 114 in Ocala, 111 in Inverness, and again, it's 7 o'clock, 108 in Titusville. And if you're just tuning in, Tampa and St. Pete both had feels like temperatures today at 120 for the first time ever. There's just a lot of juice in the atmosphere to crank up these storms. Hey, Amy, how you doing? Appreciate you taking a quick second and jumping into the chat and saying hi. Again, covering these storms right here, back down to 81 in Leesburg. Let's go back over to our winds. Now up to a 43-mile-an-hour wind in Leesburg. That's a solid thunderstorm right now up in the Leesburg, Fruitland Park, Umatilla area of the northern sides of Lake County. All right, newest special weather statement. Let us be clear that this includes a hail threat. Now, this should not be destructive hail, but we do have potentially some quarter-inch sized hail. So, pea-sized hail for the most part. It's mainly with this storm. Potentially the storm over Lake Apopka, drifting back towards the 429 in Apopka, in Ocoee, and Winter Garden in Oakland, could also be a part of this, but I really do believe it's mainly here that we're going to have the most intense activity as of now. So this is what it looks like from that special weather statement. Strong thunderstorm over western Orange County. You've got one in Oakland and Apopka, nearly stationary. I promise you that one's even stronger, even though they're talking about the other one right now. Again, winds of 50, pea-sized hail. Gusty winds could knock down tree limbs, blow around unsecured objects. Minor hail damage to vegetation is possible. Orlando, Apopka, Ocoee, Winter Garden, Windermere, with this storm back building east, this is also going to become more intense as well over Tangelo Park and Oak Ridge. Now, again, we have our camera in Winter Garden, so we are going to get a pristine view of that thunderstorm. Let's go back over to there. I was going to say, if it's off again, we got issues, but it is not. So that is the special weather statement storm. That is just on the east side of Lake County, or just west of this. And again, you can clearly see the edge of that storm. Very heavy rainfall associated with that. And this storm is headed towards this camera. So I think we're going to get a good idea of what that's going to produce. Again, it's close to severe thunderstorm criteria. That special weather statement is winds of 50 miles an hour and some quarter-inch sized hail. A lot of lightning being produced out of some of these storms as well. So could be very interesting. Hey, Raya, how you doing? Appreciate you tuning in. Good to see you. And appreciate Farah jumping in, one of our moderators. She's keeping an eye on the chat. You guys have a specific question, let me know. Appreciate you taking a quick second and liking the live stream, subscribing, jumping in the chat. This is why I'm on live, guys. You know, love that interaction. You guys have a quick question, jump in and let me know. That's interesting, Kish. I have all notifications active, but unfortunately it doesn't let us know. Just double check. If you go to the bell icon of the channel, there are different criteria or different settings for the notifications. Typically, when you have all notifications on, you should get some kind, unless you have it maybe turned off on your device. I don't know. I have heard some weird things, but hopefully not much. As far as any issues with that. But again, look at the sheets of rain coming in, guys. This is going to be a beautiful shot because, of course, the sun angle now is lower and it's behind this thunderstorm that's moving into our camera view. So this could be a very interesting one to catch here as we see this thunderstorm back build off towards the east. We'll see how far east it actually gets, but it might just be sitting there. And that's the problem because, if we get especially in Lake County, if these thunderstorms just kind of sit in one area for more than an hour, you're going to get a few inches of rain. It could absolutely lead to some localized flooding in a couple of spots and some low-lying areas. So if you live in Leesburg or Claremont, let me know in the comment section below if you're seeing some of that heftier thunderstorm activity at this point in time. Hey, Sky, I appreciate you. Thanks for saying that. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. Of course, it's a live-only channel. When it's hitting the fan, I'm going to jump on. We're going to cover it. All of Central Florida. We have no geographic boundaries here. We're going to cover things. If you guys were friends of the channel last year, we cover hurricanes. We had Helene and Milton. We had 6, 8 hour, 9 hour live streams. We got you covered here at CFLW. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, this one up here in the Astor area, it's not holding together great, which is fantastic. Again, moving northeast at 5, if it's even moving, trying to get to the Astor, De Leon Springs area. Max winds there are going to be 50 miles an hour. This storm is still pretty robust in northern Lake County. Again, 55 mile an hour winds are your max. It's basically not moving, all right? Maybe southeast. Looks like there's even a little bit of a north push as it basically expands more than anything. And again, my system's picking up some hail here that could be just kind of drifting between Lady Lake and Umatilla. But regardless of wherever it's going, it's not going anywhere in a hurry. Shower over the Oakland Park, Mount Dora area there across 441, just south of Eustis. Yahala has some decent rain and storms right now. It's getting a little bit more active in Claremont and Montverde. And again, let me be clear. You can see the live lightning strikes. I actually even have this filtered a bit, right? The system actually filters this by the energy the lightning strikes produce. It's really a fantastic system. If I were to drop this to show every single lightning strike, a lot of times when we're in these stronger severe storms, all of the lightning would cover up all the reflectivity. It's that intense. So I've actually, there's more than 71 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes, but these are the more intense lightning strikes that you guys are seeing. And let me put this into motion just to get an idea. Now, again, it's interesting because there's two different facets we can read from this. First of all, this storm is not really going much farther east. So, you know, that could be pushing away. Is this trying to pulse up a little bit? Maybe, but not really. Again, that was what the old special weather statement, and it's this storm here that I think is going to eventually kind of overtake things towards Dr. Phillips and Oak Ridge in the Millennia area there, which, you know, could eventually get back over the 429. Again, there's the turnpike. So if you live in Dr. Phillips or Lake Butler or the beautiful Windermere area, Bay Hill, Arnie's Place, you know, it's beginning to pick up a little bit there as well. Let's break down if there's any hail out of this right now. I'm going to take a look at the mean estimated hail size out of this. So again, this is a radar algorithm. It's taking the radar data and it's painting on where we could see some potential hail. So this is why I was a little bit concerned about this particular spot, is that the radar is picking up on the opportunity. There could be some smaller hail associated with this. Now, again, some of this can be rain. There's a lot of rain that will be ingested into this, and the more than likely the hail size isn't as large as what this product is showing you, but you get the idea that right across the beach line, turnpike interchange here, east of I-4, we could have a little bit of hail just west of MCO. So kind of south central sides of the Metro Orlando area down 1792, which is that Cimarron? I always get Cimarron and JYP confused. I'm sorry, OBT, JYP, and then Cimarron's east, which comes back down towards MCO. But there you go, you know, half-inch size hail there. It's Lake County, it's spotty, but maybe up to half-inch size hail here. And again, a little bit of hail associated with this. And look at all of the lightning right over 441, Leesburg, Sunnyside at the hour. So that's why we're getting these special weather statements, guys. Again, we're just below severe thunderstorm criteria. Now, coastlines, we're looking pretty good. You live along I-95, Palm Coast, Daytona Beach, New Smyrna, back down towards Merritt Island, Titusville, even back towards my friends in Palm Bay, we're looking pretty good. West Coast had a couple of stronger thunderstorms earlier in the afternoon hours. Produced some decent wind and rain there in portions of Hillsborough County, but all is quiet at this point in time. Sky from Tampa Bay, appreciate you. I got a lot of family who lives in the Brandon area, so was just down there not that long ago. Hey, Bacon Rage from Yahala and the Turnpike, only a few drops so far, appreciate it. So it's interesting. So Bacon Rage is sitting here in Yahala, and let me get this. Try and get that off of there. So Yahala is right here, right? He's in the midst of all of this, and he hasn't had a lot, but it is rowdy all around him, right? And there will be spots that don't see much out of this whole cluster, but there will be other areas where it's vitally intense too. So, you know, again, interesting to get that ground truth report, as they say, that, look, not everyone's going to get it here, but I appreciate that, Bacon Rage. Rhea has blue sky and sunny conditions in Lake Mary. South Villages still dry, could really use the rain. Randy in the house there in the South Villages. It's not moving much, guys. Let me do this. I'm going to bring on the composite radar. So we were looking at the radar out of Melbourne. You know, we can look at the individual NexRad radar sites. But what I want to do here is I want to loop this up. And let me drop off the surface data here too. Well, I tell you what. By the way, earlier, Leesburg had a 52-mile-an-hour wind. I don't want to gloss over that. So you had up over 50, which is why they issued the special weather statement for 55. But if I back this up over the last 6 hours or so, you'll see the activity that developed across US 19 and west of 75. And then we had a couple of stronger storms in the Hillsborough County area earlier, even back to Manatee and Sarasota County. So you'll see that develop southern Hillsborough County. You know, we had some winds of around 40 there, and then it quickly died back down. But there were some stronger storms. Spring Hill had a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust earlier. Downtown Tampa had a 40 a little bit earlier in the day, and then those have quieted down. So this was the early afternoon activity. But before then, again, I have to keep mentioning this. Tampa had a 120-degree feels-like temperature this afternoon for the first time ever. Unbelievable heat, and this is why you can get these kinds of storms. Now, the East Coast sea breeze is inland, will more than likely not allow more than a rogue shower to develop. We had that earlier in Brevard County. And again, you had a couple of intense storms here and there. And just notice that as you go through time, and you can see this, when it pops up, they're just not moving much for today. So we've had pockets of intense weather. It's just a little bit more widespread than what we had earlier today, which warranted me jumping on here and covering this for you guys. Now, if you live in downtown Orlando, right, this was the thunderstorm here at the executive airport that produced the 52-mile-an-hour wind. And again, please note how small this storm was. And it pulsed up, was about that intense for 15 minutes. And then it died right back down. Watch, again, if you look at your time frame here, this was just past 4 o'clock. This is when this storm came up, developed, special weather statement, 4:15-ish, and then look at it, gone. It's gone by 4:45, but really was gone by 4:35. Okay, these are 30-minute storms earlier in the day. They have clustered up a little bit more, which is why they're holding together longer. When these storms knock heads against each other in the old outflow boundaries, they produce additional cells that can kind of outlive the parent storm, and it can keep going for a little bit longer. So these were much more pulse earlier in the day. They're a little bit longer lived at this point in time. But that's what's been happening across the area for today. So we have had some intense storms from time to time. It is smoking hot in most areas right now. And again, those are your current winds, my friends. But at last blush, this is your actual air temperatures. And again, we have live updated numbers here for you at the bottom of your screen. You're going to see temperatures all over the place. Still some 90s, still some rain-cooled lower 80s from time to time as well. Let's get back out to our live camera network here. Never like to go too deep into it. Oh, are you kidding me? All right. We're going to have to fix that. Live look outside to Conway. That is absolutely gorgeous. Looks pretty good at the hour there for you. And again, looking east, a little bit of a breeze from time to time. Now, it's telling me it should be on. But it is not, is it? Let me look at something real quick here. That's a live look to the attractions area for you guys as well. Actually, it looks like I might have lost the connection with that. No, it's still live. All right. And this was my fault. The camera that we had in Winter Garden, it pooped out because we didn't properly put the water seal on the connection, and that was my fault. I'm no engineer. I try. So we had to get a secondary camera, and the secondary camera, it's gorgeous. It's a high definition camera, but the way it connects to our system, it's very sketchy. We are working to get it better, but it can go down a little bit quicker from time to time based on how we've had to set it. So I do apologize for that. But this is the live look from Winter Garden. And again, most of the time it stays up. You guys know we use a lot during our CFLW, the shows, and other live streams. But again, so this thunderstorm, which the Weather Service put the special weather statement on and included Winter Garden, now it really does look like it's moving away north and east. So kind of to the right-hand side of your screen. It's certainly gotten no closer than when we came on 15, 20 minutes ago when they had the special weather statement, right? So that camera, again, will monitor. Now, the thunderstorm, as I was watching towards I-4, that's the one that's getting a little bit stronger. And if it can hold together, it would roll right back over this camera. And again, the attractions area is always some area I monitor very closely. That's why we put this camera here. We know the attractions heavily going to be, concentrated, people wanting to be outside, thunderstorms rolling through. We got to make sure that we monitor the situation there. So that's the live look to what's going on at the attractions area. All right, back out to the weather computer. Let's reset the scenario for everyone here at 7:35. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in. Thanks for taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me. I do appreciate that as well. This is a really intense thunderstorm over Lake County right now. All right. The biggest issue is that it's not moving. It's intense. It's not moving. So we're going to have the opportunity here, to potentially get some kind of flood advisory, right? That's what I'm looking up for you guys right now. Hasn't happened yet. It's north of us, but it's not going to shock me if portions of Lake County get a couple of inches of rain out of this. This is the cell here that's trying to hold together over Oak Ridge and Dr. Phillips and Windermere and Metro West, and trying to drive and kind of build back towards the 429 and the Turnpike interchange there in the western sides of Orange County. You have a little rogue shower developing here between Apopka and Altamont Springs. We still have about another hour for something to try and still pulse up. Typically in this environment, these storms can't hold together once we lose the heat of the day. We've already lost the special weather statement here. This storm kind of got out by itself, died back down. Again, it's the fact that these storms are all clustered up here, which is why they're able to hold together. Still extremely heavy rain and a lot of lightning over the Umatilla area. When you see that, that's high reflectivity on the radar. So there is, again, the opportunity that there's some hail being produced out of that. The cell over the Eustis, Mount Dora, Oakland Park area has gotten stronger. Again, notches of a little bit drier air, Tavares, could you get not much compared to other people? It's absolutely possible. But the majority of Lake County right now has some extensive heavy rainfall and lightning. This is trying to sneak towards Wildwood and Lake Pan and Coleman across 301. Rainy there in the villages. Still kind of on the outskirts, but getting closer to the villages. I'll loop this up, put this into motion over the last half hour. There is certainly a little bit of north and west movement, or if nothing else, it's kind of mushrooming out, just expanding, with the very, very weak steering currents. It's not going to be moving quickly regardless of where it's going for today. Again, always keeping an eye out for any other development here. And you guys can let me know in the comments section below if you're seeing anything else, but we're pretty clustered up at this point in time. Not really expecting a lot more redevelopment across the western areas. Not really expecting much to hold together back towards the East Coast. I think it is going to be interior sections here for whatever continues over the next hour or so. Just checking to make sure I didn't get a message. Got my Lean Law tumbler, guys, again. Got my Publix Diet Green Tea in there. I'm actually running out, though. We'll see how much longer we're on if we need to refuel. Well, I appreciate it, Sky. I mean, look, I'm from Crystal River. I cover the west, the East Coast. Look, if there's any kind of hurricane coming on, we're going to cover it. Now, outside of Central Florida, I'll cover them on my other channel. It's called Media Mundo for the Caribbean and the Bahamas. But I'll give you an example with Hurricanes Helene and Milton last year. When they were in the Gulf, when they were closer to the Yucatan, we covered it on the Media Mundo channel. As they began to approach Central Florida, we switched over and we covered it live here. And we're adding new things. We have the live cameras that you guys saw. We believe that during hurricane, when we actually have active tropical storms or hurricanes, we'll be able to bring you guys additional cameras across other portions of Central Florida. All right. So, I don't want to guarantee it, but cross your fingers. That's something we'll be able to do, is to wherever this storm is coming on shore, to be able to bring you some live cameras from those areas. And you never know, we might have a storm chaser out here and there as well. So we do have you covered for these, thunderstorms that develop this time of the year, but we also got you covered for the tropical systems that move through Central Florida as well. Gonna have a couple Bustelo. Jealous for that. Yeah, thank you, Farah. Again, appreciate the interaction. Hey, Therese, how you doing? Kissimmee in the house. We got a lot of folks who support the channel often who are in the chat right now, and I appreciate that, guys. Again, you have a specific question about the forecast, feel free to let me know in the comments section below. On right now, because these storms pulsed up a bit late in the day. We've had pockets of intense storms, but they've been very isolated to date. Now, again, where they've developed, they produce some winds of over 50 miles an hour. We've had that a couple of times. Both Leesburg and downtown Orlando both had wind gusts today of over 50 miles an hour. That's pretty darn impressive. They don't last very long for the most part, but that's where they've developed. Now, again, the exception to this is what's happening right now in Lake County. You've got yourself a congregation of storms that have all merged together off of these old outflows, and they're just holding together longer than anything else I've seen all day long. Most of this activity was 20 to 30 minutes, and then it died right back down. But again, Bobby Lean, we were on the phone, and he is Lean Law Firm. If you guys don't know, I was speaking with him early in the day on the phone. He's like, oh man, I just got a message from one of my buddies who lives in Oviedo, and they had a little bit of hail at their house and a trampoline that ended up somewhere on their street. Not their trampoline, just someone's trampoline. And we joked about how, look, it doesn't take a lot of wind to fly these trampolines around these days, but you get the idea of the kind of intensity of some of the winds that were produced out of this. And you think it's bad here. Places in Minnesota yesterday had 90 plus mile an hour winds. It was amazing. Is it Ashiru? I don't want to pronounce your name wrong, my friend. Here in Conway, thunder, seeing some flashes of lightning, but no rain at this time. Appreciate it. And again, we have our Conway cam, so we got that area covered here in Central Florida. Yeah, Ray, exactly. Look, it wasn't extremely widespread, but where it went up hard, very, very quickly. And again, even portions of Tampa had it as well. Now, maybe you're tuning in because you're curious about what's been happening with the storms, but I want to also focus on that this is 7:43 now, and these are still your updated feels like temperatures. So you want to just talk about having fuel to pop off these thunderstorms. Again, we have a lot of subsidence or sinking air with high pressure in place, which is why we're seeing the outrageous temperatures that we've had lately. But when we can develop a thunderstorm, there's a ton of fuel to get these things going. It still feels like it's 114 in Ocala, 108 in Inverness, Spring Hill. And again, rain cooled earlier in the day through most of Hillsborough County. My friends in Titusville, it feels like it's 108, 105 in Edgewater. Now, these are 7 o'clock values, right? These are mainly hourly observations. So that's your 7 o'clock observation in Ocala. But you still had at 7 o'clock, 93 degrees with a dew point of 81. That is crazy. All right, so this special weather statement is set to expire in 1 minute. And again, it's not really moving. My system has it southeast at 3, but it's just trying to pick up on an individual cell within this entire cluster and try and put some kind of movement in it. Now, this special weather statement is also going to end in 1 minute, and this storm never went east like the Weather Service thought it might. It kind of moved north and west than anything. This cell has held together, but it never went crazy. There's been some good lightning towards Metro West and Millennium and Oak Ridge and some heavier rain down there, but it never really pulsed up. There was a bit of hail, more than likely some pea-sized hail near the Oak Ridge area, but again, it dumped it and it's now done. What's happening here in Wekiva Springs, again, it's a light shower. So curious to see, and here you go. They have issued another special weather statement. Thought they might, just based on the fact that this really hasn't died out much. But we'll more than likely lose this one and not get another one. And then let's see how far west this is. So what's interesting is that the new special weather statement is truly outside of where it's still most intense, right? Here's what they've done. They've taken the western and the northern areas, and that's where they've made the special weather statements. So there you go. It's interesting though, because this is still the most intense activity. Let's pick this up here. So here you go. Based on the edge of this, these are the times of arrival. And I want to be clear, the slow movement associated with this. So at 7:45, my system has this entering the villages, kind of the leading edge, but I mean, again, where's the point of the villages? If you guys know the villages now, I feel like it's hundreds of miles, but the proper one here near 44 and 301, 805 in about 20 minutes. Wildwood, 809 to 812. Coleman here, and again, we can literally go street by street if we had to, like during a tornado warning. We can go street by street. We can look at the exact time of arrival and how long until impact, or how long since we've had impact. But again, just based on that and forward speed with these, we'll take a look at all of this here. Northwest at 8, so it's at least a little bit faster. Webster, Lake Pan, Coleman, Adamsville. Some of these are really small areas as you get into Sumter County. Center Hill, Sumterville, Oxford, Bushnell, Wildwood. Now up here, this is moving into no man's land for the most part, Ocala National Forest time. And you notice that there is no city listed with that special weather statement. So out of Umatilla and into the eastern sides of Marion County. So that one is not a concern as far as causing any issues to any populated locations. Asheru, you got it. Asheru. I got you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Listen, I wanna know. I wanna learn. I am not afraid to ask when I don't know. And they reissued it. It's fine. It's fine. Look, we'd rather be ahead of the game than behind the game here on CFLW, right? I had to, if you notice, I was kind of scratching my head, right? Like, why didn't they reissue this special weather statement? I get the fact it's moving west. I get the fact there's a cell north here, but this is still the highest reflectivity and the most intense activity. So they've fired it for the next 42 minutes. They said, in your face. We're not only going to issue one, we're going to issue one for 45 minutes. So there you go. Blue Goose has a thunderstorm northwest heading north, fingers crossed. Trying to get rid of this. There we go. By the way, appreciate you guys tuning in. Super Thanks are available now. You guys can find those. It's another way to support the channel. But regardless, I appreciate you taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me and subscribing. That's what Blue Goose is talking about. He lives in St. Augustine, so out of Green Cove Springs, they're getting some thunderstorms there. Give me just 1 second here, guys. Looks like I'm going to be on for another couple of minutes, so I asked the wife for a little bit more green tea. As you guys might imagine, I speak a lot during this time of the year, so try and make sure that I don't get too parched. First of all, it doesn't sound great, and secondly, it doesn't feel great. Let's check out if there's any hail out of this. So I'm going to switch back over to this estimated hail size. This is kind of what I thought. More than likely, they were a little bit concerned about the potential hail on the western edge because the rain and the intensity didn't look that significant. But 91 is going to be the turnpike. So south of Leesburg and west of 27 and kind of riding the turnpike, there could be, again, a pocket of hail here. May not be up to 1 inch in size. You would start to get to potentially damaging hail criteria as you get there. More than likely, it's not that intense, but could we get to 1/2 inch size hail? Certainly think that's plausible. Same situation why they issued this special weather statement here, right? This kind of was all out by itself, but that part of the thunderstorm was producing significant enough hail for them to go ahead and issue the special weather statement there as well. Now, I don't see where any hail is mentioned in the actual criteria, but there is still some hail as a potential within some of these cells. Not expecting there to be any broad rotation. You know, a funnel cloud is not out of the question, but we're not really in that environment again for today. Oh my God. All right, let us pray. I'm going to the winter garden camera. Okay, it's there. Generally speaking, we're not going to have problems. But again, you can see some of the darker cloud coverage over the area, that thunderstorm pulling away, but still, you know, you can't rule out a little bit of redevelopment or back building of some of this activity, you know, over the next hour. This should begin to fade over the 8 o'clock hour. The intensity should also begin to come down a bit, but we still have an opportunity for the next little bit here to see these storms stay as intense as they have been, or to even potentially pulse up. Again, the tremendous heat that we had today, these storms are running into that, and if these, you know, if this is an unraked environment, meaning we haven't had any thunderstorms in that area, you know, you can get additional stronger cells to continue to develop here pretty deep into the evening hours with this to move on. Really? I've got my street level mapping on here. I mean, by a lot. How much do you say there, who and why unsolved? Part of the way you can always tell if there's populated areas is you go street by street. Now look, this is for sure, you know, north of Umatilla, so I don't want to discount that, but as you get deeper in, you really start to break down. And I mean, I've been in this area here, but I don't want to, you know, I'll keep an eye on it. But even my system here, you see that little caret? If there was a populated center or even a town, it would pick it up. So let's just say not the most populated area, but I'll keep that in mind. It still feels like 108 right now, last report in MRS. We'll get updates here at the top of the hour, and you can see those live temperatures across Central Florida scrolling on the bottom of your screen. Still watching this, 807 Villages, 809 Wildwood, 811 in Coleman. Again, this fuchsia right here along the turnpike, that's probably some hail north and west of Umatilla. That's likely some hail going along with things as well. Little shower has picked up over Wekiva Springs, Forest City. Again, we've got a narrow window to see if these things can pulse up and become stronger. Right now, there's what? 0 lightning strikes out of that particular cell. Even a little bit back down towards MCO. So right across the airport, we have a little bit there too. By the way, that's the last temperature check there of 96 degrees. Actually, it's 88. The heat index is 96. Again, nasty stuff there. All right, so 22 minutes for the Umatilla one, moving away. It's going to take it to 8:15. Let's get the newest information on the special weather statement they reissued for most of Lake County. So we have north at 6, max winds of 50, still trying to include Winter Garden, but at this point in time, Western Orange County is generally okay. It's most of Lake County right now. Leesburg, Eustis, Tavares, Lady Lake. This is the actual special weather statement from the Weather Service. Strong thunderstorm near Lake Harris moving north at 5, winds of up to 50. And again, tree limbs down, unsecured objects, power issues could come along for the ride, and some very intense rain as well. One thing I'll be monitoring here while I'm still on with you guys is, you know, if they do issue any, you know, flood advisories, right? Pockets of very heavy rainfall being produced out of this, sitting in one spot. Those are ingredients to have some, you know, flooding in some low-lying areas. Hey, Midge, how you doing? I'm good, Kish. I'm good. Listen, man, I do the Media Mundo videos every day. Those are 30-minute videos. Do this channel, do Weather Express. It's still not hitting the intensity of when I worked in Oklahoma City, where we would do tornado coverage 12 and 14 hours a day. And sometimes that could be many days in a row. Those were really the rougher days. I've learned to drink more water and to keep more hydrated just for a lot of different reasons. But, you know, you do get into pockets where, you know, you're just talking and you're talking and you're talking, especially with some of these hurricane live streams where you're looking at 4, 6, 8, even 12 hours of coverage. Last year during Hurricane Beryl, when it was over Jamaica, we did a full 12-hour live stream, and there wasn't much more except for me talking. That one, I lost, I think, 6 pounds in one day just from doing that. All right, Midge, hey, how you doing? Just subscribed, live 5 miles from Uttila on Lake Yale. Torrential rain, thunder, and lightning was bad. Power went off and came back on. Quiet now. Midge, that's why I do this channel. I appreciate you finding me. I appreciate you taking a second, jumping in the chat, saying hi, letting me know what happened in your area. That ground truth information is awesome. And again, I appreciate those who take a second. It really kind of, again, we can look at it on radar, we could talk about it, but when you guys experience it and drop it in the chat, it's not just me. Now everyone who's watching gets an idea of what's been happening in your area. Blue Goose still has 89 degrees at 8 o'clock. Yep. These are still your 7 o'clock numbers, I believe. Well, there was a 7:30 update in Inverness at 90. Ocala, that is still the 7 o'clock at 93. All right, now they've gone severe. So there you go. So this is why I'm on, right? Thought that we might get a little bit more intense. It's the area that I was just mentioning with that hail size, right? The Weather Service saw it as well. 3/4 inch size hail. Now you're teetering on potential destructive hail coming out of this severe thunderstorm near the Leesburg area. That's why they issued the severe thunderstorm warning and the 60-mile-an-hour winds. Believe it or not, the 3/4 inch size hail is still not severe thunderstorm warning criteria. It's 60-mile-an-hour winds, which we have, and or inch size hail. But you get up to that nickel size hail, the 0.88, and then you're on that roof damage, car damage kind of situation. So we're close here in the Leesburg area. So let's get the newest information on this now severe thunderstorm warning. Here we go. Severe thunderstorm warning for west central Lake County until 8:30. Severe thunderstorm located near Leesburg, moving, basically drifting north at 5 miles an hour, 60-mile-an-hour winds to go along with it. Damage to roofs, siding, and trees as a possibility. Leesburg, Lake Griffin, Lake Harris, Fruitland Park, and the Leesburg Airport all within this new severe thunderstorm warning, which is encompassed by several special weather statements. So we talked about it. We had this narrow window for these storms to still pulse up and become more intense, and that's what we're seeing right now in Lake County. Let's check out the hail potential. We'll switch back over to our estimated hail size product. And this is why they've done it. Leesburg is a pretty big city, all right? And there is more than likely some hail that is falling in and around the Leesburg area. My system has exactly what the Weather Service is showing. We have up to 0.75 or 3/4 inch size hail, and that is exactly what I'm showing here. So more than likely, we have some decent hail on the western and the southwest side of the Leesburg area. This is all kind of moving up to the north and to the west, right? So that's where we have the hail associated with that severe thunderstorm warning. I'll always look at velocity. I always want to make sure that we don't have anything stupid trying to happen with anything. Now again, just because you see brighter greens doesn't mean that you have any kind of broad rotation. You have to have much more intense winds than that. We look okay. These look to still be very straight line winds. I always keep a close eye on it, even if it's an environment that I don't think that's going to happen. Let's track this storm, by the way. So right now, it's moving so darn slow, right? We don't even have it even into Fruitland Park. That just shows you how slow it is. Where's the villages? There's the villages. So, I don't just have to rely on what the radar algorithm is showing me, and it's fantastic, but I can, see 5 miles an hour. Well, hang on. Let's do this. Thought I could do it just a cone, but we'll just do it this way. If we kind of say this is like the leading edge, and we go 5 miles an hour, yeah, you don't even in an hour, you don't even get close to Wildwood and Fruitland Park. It's amazing how slow this is going. It just means that the areas that are getting hammered right now are going to continue to get hammered. So I've got this at 5 miles an hour, and we're not even into Wildwood in the next hour. And they're just hoisting up special weather statements now. This cluster is just getting stronger here as we hit 8 o'clock. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Flat Daddy-O says the weather radio just went off. Is this moving west? It is drifting west or expanding west. The movement is very, very slow. All right. So it looks like, or am I mistaken? Is this a new one? And that one was issued at 7:45. I thought I saw a new one, but maybe that was just my eyes deceiving me. I think we still have the same areas. Now again, we have, just to be clear, if you're tuning in from the Metro Orlando area, we have a couple of showers trying to get going right now, even as we hit 8 o'clock. They haven't done much, but it just shows you the environment is in play that, you know, it's very touchy, right? You get just a little bit of an outflow boundary hitting, you get a lot of lift in the atmosphere and all of this heat, and you're going to still fire up storms. And this should be the new report out of Ocala as well. Yeah, this is the 8 o'clock report, and it's still 91 degrees. Inverness, 8 o'clock report, still 90 degrees. Ormond Beach, that's still a 7 o'clock report, but they were in at 91. So we are getting their updated observations, and those will update in real time at the bottom of your screen as well. Oh, Sherry, so many times we were on covering up absolutely everything in Oklahoma City. Look, it was warranted though. Those were storms, you know, where people's lives were on the line, you know, and I was there for 7 years and I saw some things. I'll put you that way. But yeah, it's not really the best way, right? I love this, you know, I did television weather for a long, long time, but I love this for a few different reasons. One, we have this interaction, right? You and I can chat in real time. You have a specific question, you let me know. You are getting impactful weather, you can let me know right away. Hey, Rusty, hand raised, I'm getting hammered where I live. Here's where it is, check it out, right? You know, and not only you and I could talk, but everyone else sees this chat as well, and we can have a great community, right? And it's in real time. So we jump on when there's active weather. When we're done, we say goodbye. Sometimes that can be 30 minutes, sometimes that can be an hour, sometimes that can be longer, but we can cover it as I see fit. And that's a great thing as well. Pinky says an 8.0 off of the shore of Russia. Wow. Okay. 8.0. They did issue a tsunami warning? Okay. Yeah, with an 8.0 off the coast, that's not shocking. Wow, I'll have to keep an eye on that. My system can actually pick up earthquakes too. This is a great system, like so in real time. I'm not going to zoom over to Russia to check it out, but I can pick up earthquakes in real time as well. That is nuts. Larry says storm is sitting over, steamy, humid. Yep. Let's check out our cameras here again while we have those. Is it? I'm scared to bring up this winter garden camera. Oh, are you kidding me? This is going to be the bane of my existence, right? Oh, it's so stupid right now. I absolutely hate this thing. Oh, it shouldn't be doing this. There's a technical reason why, but it's still out of control. Oh my goodness. The winter garden camera may not survive tonight because it might be thrown in a pool. I just don't know why. It's a gorgeous shot though. I'll give it that. A live look outside of winter garden, friends. And again, we are looking at that severe thunderstorm. That base way out in the distance is going to be close to where that severe thunderstorm warning is. A little bit closer into the action, you can see again, you know, some darker clouds kind of feeding into it. Of course, we're looking west, so sunset is approaching. So we're going to have a beautiful backlit sky from this winter garden camera if it stays up. which it better. But again, you get the idea of what's happening there in Lake County from this live camera in Winter Garden. Someone was in Conway earlier, and of course we have this live camera in Conway as well. Now we're looking east, back to a much quieter East Coast for today, and you can see where you get that flight pattern of the OIA, and we catch some of the bigger planes coming in there in the distance from that camera at Conway. And we're looking pretty good still in Disney. Now look, again, let me be clear. A few showers are trying to develop around Metro Orlando, so I don't want to say with a 100% certainty that there's not going to be a shower or an isolated thunderstorm yet to develop near Lake Buena Vista through the 8 o'clock hour. There's still a possibility, but at this point in time, we're looking okay there. They are a little bit farther north, but this is the camera that I'll be monitoring most of the time here for the remainder of the time that we're on. All right, back over to the live weather computer here, guys. And again, let's get into this storm in Lake County because this one's pretty nasty right now. Severe thunderstorm warning, gonna go till 8:30. You can see the hail being produced out of that right now, right over Leesburg, basically drifting. Who was in Yahala? Are you getting anything worse right now, by the way? I mean, it had to have at least picked up a little bit in the Yahala area, right? Yeah, if it, you know, preliminary, you never know, right? You know, the earthquakes are always, when it just happens, it's preliminary number. They can get changed to be higher, they can get changed to be lower, but if it's a preliminary 8.0, you know it's a really big one. Again, the Richter scale is logarithmic, so there's a big difference between a 7 and an 8. Wekiva Springs, scattered showers there. Again, just a little bit of rain trying to pop up over Orlando right now towards MCO, Metro West, Millennia. Those are probably going to cooperate, you know. They're probably not going to get too rowdy, but still really nasty. And again, the lightning count is still very impressive past 8 o'clock to have over 100 lightning strikes in this view in just the last 15 minutes, okay? Wildwood intensifying a little bit, same thing for the Villages and Lady Lake, but this core right now is Leesburg to Verries across 441 from the Turnpike up 27 and into Leesburg. Special weather statement, though, does go all the way through Lake Apopka, includes Oakland and Winter Garden, but there's not much happening there. And some of this activity is drifting a little bit south towards Center Hill. So when I zoom this out, guys, and I'm going to take off this so you can see it a little bit easier. So this is going to be the loop over the last half hour. Well, a little bit less than a half hour there, but still. I mean, if anything, we're nudging north and west. Just a little bit. How you doing up in St. Augustine, Blue Goose? Ooh, it's getting closer. It's a decent storm just west of you. Decent storm indeed. Got a good downpour now, Bacon Rage, gotcha. Well, there you go. I mean, you were kind of like in this bubble, but with all of this happening, you know you weren't going to stay in that bubble for very long. But listen, hey, you break the heat as long as you don't get any destructive winds out of this, right? You're getting some good water on the lawns. As hot as it's been, it doesn't take long for these yards of ours to get absolutely parched again. And if you join me for Monday's, which was yesterday, CFLW, the show live at 1 o'clock, we talked about this heat. The fact that today was the first day to really try and break it with a few storms. Rain chances and storm chances overall should slightly improve. The rest of the week, it should be a wetter weekend ahead. We're just going to fall back into a more typical summer pattern where the sea breezes are more active. We don't have as much subsidence or sinking air in the atmosphere. We have gotten rid of the Saharan air layer, which was one of the factors why it was so darn hot the last couple of days. And now it should allow for additional, normal storm chances to reemerge here starting tomorrow in most spots. Again, look at these temperatures, man, it's just nuts. If you guys would like to check out what's happening across all of the United States, I do a YouTube channel called Weather Express, which is a 5-minute forecast across all of the United States. You can check that out. There's a link to the description below as well. Let's see here. Just going to let the composite radar here run for a second. See some of that as well. Again, severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-an-hour winds, 3/4 inch size hail. Goes through 8:30. It's Leesburg, Lake Griffin, Lake Harris, Fruitland Park, and the Leesburg Airport. And again, up to 3/4 inch size hail with some of this activity here. So it's a nasty storm. It's a rowdy storm, no doubt about it. Let's go back over to our weather cameras. Let's check that out. I want to make sure we keep an eye on this while we still have some daylight. Live look outside to Winter Garden. It's going to be a neat shot here over the next few minutes. You know, as that storm is just kind of situated west of this camera. So we are looking back into the base of that right now. And again, even just some really, you know, there's a lot of texture to all of these clouds. There's certainly a little bit more instability today than the last couple of days. It's not nearly as bad as what we saw last week with some of the activity here, but it's a really neat sky in the western side of Orange County at the hour. We'll stay on this shot for a little bit. Not much wind at this point in time. Blue Goose says, I just checked it. It's oozing this way. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Let's get some of this crunchy lawn done. But, you know, these storms have come up a bit in intensity, and that's the only concern that I have is, you know, now we're getting some 60-mile-an-hour winds. Now we're getting some 3/4 inch size hail. And again, earlier today, if you live in Orlando, downtown Orlando did have a 52-mile-an-hour wind gust. So it was a fairly nasty storm there earlier in the day. The biggest difference was that the thunderstorms earlier in the day were very small and they pulsed up quickly, right? And then they came right back down. It looks like they did issue. Just check this out. We might have another special weather statement here. They did. So this one looks like a new special weather statement for the area just south of Conway. So it goes until 8:45, winds of 50. So now you have Orlando, OIA, Oak Ridge, Belle Isle, and Pine Castle. Doesn't look like much though, does it? Winds of 50. Probably OIA had a decent gust. Let's check this out. OIA had a 33-mile-an-hour wind gust. Okay. So the Weather Service issued a special weather statement for the area, more than likely based off of the 33-mile-an-hour wind gust here at OIA, 23 at the Executive Airport. Again, a little bit more intense. No lightning yet, though. You know, Winter Park, Baldwin Park, but still some rain here and there. Same situation over Wekiva Springs and Altamont Springs. But this is still where it's going rowdy right here. Going gangbusters. Leesburg, Fruitland Park, Lady Lake. Really picking up over the Lady Lake area. That's a lot of lightning right now across 441 up there as well. Will this cluster reach Ocala before it fades away? It's a really good question. My thought is that it's moving so slow and we're at the sunset hour now that if it does, Kish, it will do so in a weaker fashion, right? It could hold together before it gets to, when it gets to Ocala. It could still hold together, but it will more than likely not be this intense. We should hopefully start to see some of this begin to drop down here as we get towards 9 o'clock. All right, we're going to lose the one special weather statement here. Now it'll be interesting. Does the Weather Service, because it's gone more west than anything, now kind of put this back up to 441 in Bellevue? That's a possible. Man, I feel like I'm good sometimes, but you like to talk about something and then it just like happens. And I wish I could take credit for issuing that, but I'm just going off my years of experience and what I can see. You know, you saw that this was west. It didn't make it as far west as Bellevue, but it's not shocking that they reissued a special weather statement for winds of 50 miles an hour. So there you go. This cell is picking up too over Putnam County. Just kind of sitting over there right now. Trying to mind its P's and Q's there. You now have a special weather statement. Blue Goose, you're probably going to get hit pretty hard. It's a pretty decent storm. Looks like it is trucking your way too. So thanks guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. Again, on live, we've been on live now for I think even more than an hour. Look, I always monitor the storms this time of the year, and we talked about it in yesterday's CFLW, the show, that if storms were going to develop, they weren't going to be very widespread the next couple of days, but they would be very locally intense, right? And we had clusters of intense storms earlier in the day. Oviedo, in Orlando, and back into Hillsborough County, by the way. I don't want to discount that. It's very quiet in Hillsborough and Pinellas and Manatee and Sarasota counties, but earlier in the day, they did have some intense storms. But they were very disorganized. They would pulse up for 15, 20 minutes, and they die right back down. It would be hard for me to come on and cover that. To be on for one storm, it die in 15 minutes and be like, okay, we're done. But once I saw this activity beginning to develop, I knew more than likely they were going to hold together for longer. And so I had an opportunity to come in and join you guys live here on CFLW. Get back over to the Diet Green Tea. You got it, Raya. Speaking things into existence. Not that I want to, Farah, but when you're covering this live, the one thing I want to try and give you guys an idea of is, what I'm thinking. When I'm looking at this, what am I analyzing in my brain in real time, right? Because this is just a very colorful radar presentation. We see all the lightning strikes, we see all the polygons, but what does it really mean for your area, and what's the next step in the evolution of these storms? This activity will probably hold together past sunset in some way, shape, or form. I'm hoping that we lose the most intense part of this as we get closer to 9 o'clock, but we'll have to see. The severe thunderstorm warning part in red goes until 8:30. There hasn't been much of a drop in intensity here. As a matter of fact, if you guys see that this is another area right across 27 between Leesburg and Lady Lake that my system is picking up on for some hail. They say it's an 80% hail probability within that area and up to a ½ inch in size. Again, typically we can handle ½ inch size hail. That would be non-destructive. Might knock down a little bit of vegetation. Maybe you have a garden, you get ½ inch size hail. It could cause some problems to some of the leaves and some of the plants, but we're not talking about damaging cars. We're not talking about damaging roofs. When we get to nickel size hail, that's 0.88 inches, or we get up to especially 1 inch size hail, then you start entering that criteria where that's a problem, right? Where that kind of hail size can cause problems to roofs and to cars and to other pieces of property. And again, this little rogue special weather statement down here, it doesn't look like much, but again, based off of, I believe, the wind gusts that they had at OIA. I'm going to bring back on the winds and keep an eye out for that too. It's going to reset a couple of things here. And again, really, this cell is now more intense. So the Baldwin Park cell, we have potentially bubbling up, right? 10% chance of hail, so more than likely not, but it shows you that there's a core within that cluster that is becoming more intense. Wekiva Springs, Forest City, trying to drift back down towards Altamont as well. Rhea has gray sky now, can hear thunder in the distance. It can change in a dime, there's no doubt about it. If you live along the East Coast, outside of getting as far north as Jacksonville and St. Augustine, I'm talking about Flagler, Volusia, Brevard, Indian River counties, I believe you will stay quiet tonight. I don't believe that these storms will have the push to get all the way back east. This is one here. Generally speaking, the farther north that you live, the opportunity is there, right? And it's already happened in St. Johns County. But, in interior sections of Flagler County, yes. But the I-95 corridor of Flagler County, more than likely not. And again, if you live in Bellevue or the Villages, let's pick this up from here now. So this is what we have. It's the same time frame. Nothing has really changed because this storm is barely moving. So we've hit 819. So this is sent. So we didn't even get there, right? And again, my system can pick up on time since, but that never materialized. This system, it's heavy rain. It's lightning in the Villages and Wildwood, but all of that intense activity is still back here. Lady Lake down 27 to Leesburg. No doubt about it. Now 91 is the turnpike, so this is north of the turnpike at this point in time, and this cluster has weakened significantly. Astatoula, Montverde, Mineola, Claremont, Groveland, Mascot, Oakland areas, western sides of Orange County looking a lot better. A little bit more intense down here, south of 50, and even a few more cells trying to develop, kind of eking into Polk County. Little cell over Winter Haven too. So we're not done yet, for sure, especially here. But as far as, when I mean done, are we done with any additional cells outside of what we're already seeing trying to develop? Not quite yet. Not there. Hey, Susan B. Seeing you there, looking on from Trinidad. One of my Media Mundo followers. Just did the, did you watch today's video, Sousa? Trinidad's been pretty hot and dry lately. But there are more intense tropical waves and disturbances developing in the Atlantic Basin, which could ultimately have impacts in our area the second week of August. Now, during our CFLW The Shows at 1 o'clock on Monday and Fridays. So I do the CFLW The Shows just so we can have a discussion when we're not looking at severe weather, right? Where we can talk about other things that I see. And if you join me for those, we'll get into the tropics here or there. But there are signs and signals that things are going to begin to heat up, as they typically do. It's not out of the, climatological average for the Atlantic Basin to get going a little bit in the beginning of August. Signs our life are beginning to develop there. Again, the lightning only continues to go up in this area. 177 lightning strikes now in the past 15 minutes. So this storm is only intensified through the early part of the 8 o'clock hour. It's a nasty storm. If anyone lives in this area, I would love to hear from you guys. Lady Lake, are you getting any hail? Leesburg, have you had any hail? Let us know. Again, we'll check out the hail size, see if it's still there. Definitely. Now I moved it. I guess it didn't like me doing that. Let's try that again. I should be able to zoom in though. It's probably actually cycling the product. We're probably going through another full spectrum spin here. So we'll check back on that here in just a second. But again, pulsing up even a little bit here, Winter Park, Baldwin Park, and Maitland. Again, before we lose daylight, and my cameras even have night vision, so it's not like, if you guys have tuned in past sunset before, it's not even if, we get past sunset, we're going to lose the cameras. We'll have them, but we got to check out, that's why I wanted to get back to this camera. Because there's still an intense part of that Lake County storm we can see from this Winter Garden camera. It's a gorgeous shot, isn't it? And again, we are efforting to continue to expand our camera network for these streams that we're on live. And when we go on live with hurricane coverage, to have cameras where we have landfall. Blue Goose getting that outflow. Yep, that's what's going to happen. Hey, Kate, how you doing? Just heard some thunder at Lake Mary not too long ago. Could we be seeing any rain? Would be nice to have an evening shower. There's a few showers near you, Kate, especially south and west of you right now. If the one can hold together near Wekiva Springs, it's trying to back build in your area. I would put it at about a 30% chance right now. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen probably in the next half hour, because more than likely the cells that are especially out by themselves, that aren't clustered up in Lake County and moving into Sumter County, those cells should be beginning to fade, once we lose the heat of the day. Now, even what you're seeing closer to you, Cade, it's still relatively light for the most part. So even if you get a little bit of that, you're not going to have a ton. Gina, in the Villages, terrible with this lightning, wind terrible as well. So Gina jumping in. I know Randy was in the chat earlier from the Villages as well. If he's still watching, if he wants to jump in and let us know, but starting to pick up in portions of the Villages as well. And again, the Villages is so expansive these days, but generally south and east, the farther that you go, you're going to have the most intense part of that. So here you go. And as Gina was mentioning, the lightning is very intense right now. Very intense across 441, 301, portions of Lake County, even back towards Coleman and Lake Pan. I mean, it is hammer time right now in Lady Lake. And now we have basically a guarantee of hail in Lady Lake. So it's not going to shock me. Again, I don't want to speak things into existence. And I don't want there to be another severe thunderstorm warning. But it's not going to shock me is if sometime, either even before this expires or when this expires, there's a reissuance of a severe thunderstorm warning farther north. We'll see. It's probably close, right? Again, I want to be clear. You got to have inch-size hail or 60-mile-an-hour winds. So 3/4 inch size hail isn't going to get it. Leesburg's last wind report was 31. It's teetering on that border. It's whether the Weather Service office really feels like there's inch-sized hail being produced out of this, you know, it'll be close. But that's the most intense part that we're seeing right now. Again, farther south, we're starting to see that eat away a little bit. I just grabbed my lightning strike counter and took along for a ride there. So it's improving in southeast and southern sides of Lake County, where it's getting a lot worse in the northern sides and moving into Sumter County and moving into southeast sides of Marion County. There's definitely a northwest push with this now. Now we're starting to get some lightning back in downtown Orlando. So this has pulsed up a little bit. Still not bad, but if you're viewing from, you know, Lake Eola and Winter Park and Baldwin Park and Union Park and Goldenrod, right up Aloma, certainly could see some heavier rain there as well. Still have this special weather statement. I don't know why. That does not look any more than a light cell. This might actually be more intense near Buenaventura Lakes and over East Lake Tahoe. Again, still expecting west and east coast to mainly be quiet outside of getting as far north as St. Augustine. Hey Keith, very intense weather. Where are you, my friend? Florida couple in Leesburg, Silver Lake area, seeing lots of wind, lightning, and no hail so far. Hey Keith, first of all, thank you so much for jumping in the chat and letting us know. And again, you know, we're talking about some of the most intense part of this area near Leesburg. So let me again go back over this with Keith. Silver Lake area, and they issued a flash flood warning. So again, this is all coming into what we've been discussing here. So Silver Lake, I thought I had it on my map, Keith, but maybe I don't. I thought I did. I have sunny Fruitland Park. Obviously the airport is right here. That's why I have the airport. Thought I had it. Anyway, I appreciate it. So again, to reiterate, lots of wind, lightning, no hail, but very intense weather. So it's been raining so heavily here, we now have a flash flood warning. So we've transitioned a little bit from the severe weather criteria here to saying the potential for some flooding. And we mentioned that earlier as well. And there's your new severe thunderstorm warning north. Again, none of this, obviously, if you were just watching the last couple of minutes, is surprising. So Lady Lake, 60-mile-an-hour wind, 3/4 inch size hail. Ooh, 8.7. Dear Lord, that's a massive earthquake. Whew. All right, so we got to break this down, what's going on up here. I'm going to get rid of the severe thunderstorm warning just for a second because I want to talk about this flash flood warning because this is dangerous. All right, the flash flood warning criteria is pretty high. So let's get into this. National Weather Service has issued a flash flood warning until 10:30, so for 2 hours. Doppler radar indicating 2.5 to 4 inches of rain, an additional 1 to 2. That's 3.5 to 6 inches of rain in this. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. All right. Small creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets, and underpasses, as well as other poor drainage and low-lying areas. Some of the areas that could be included or could be impacted by flash flooding are Leesburg, Lake Griffin, Lake Harris, Fruitland Park, the airport, Hawthorne, Yahala, and the Silver Lake area. Now, I want to be clear, that doesn't mean everyone within this flash flood warning area is going to be impacted by flash flooding, but we've had enough rain, 2.5 to 4 inches and an additional 1 to 2, where some flash flooding is either occurring or is likely to occur. I'm going to switch over to the local storm reports, and I just want to make sure that we haven't had a local storm report here of any flooding. So again, if we have, we'll see that crop up. And let me just make sure here. So I want to make sure I have it on real time, and I do. The only storm report we've had today, again, is at the executive airport at 4:08. They had a 55-mile-an-hour wind gust. But I know Oviedo had some hail earlier today as well. I was speaking with Bobby Lean on the phone when he got a text message from a buddy of his. So nothing there. All right. Again, current warnings. So this is just a product that's going to let us know the current warnings. So it looks like they've, extended that severe thunderstorm warning too, right? So they have. All right. So the Leesburg severe thunderstorm warning is gone. It's actually been replaced by now 2 different severe thunderstorm warnings, one that includes Fruitland Park and Lady Lake, and another one that includes the central and the eastern sides of Marion County as well. So now we have 2 different severe thunderstorm warnings with that. All right. So let's get into the severe thunderstorm warning aspect of this. Severe thunderstorm warning for West Central Lake County until 9 o'clock. So in another half hour, winds of 60 miles an hour. Severe thunderstorm located over Lady Lake, moving north at 5 miles an hour. That's why we have the flood threat, friends, because these storms are just not moving much. Lady Lake, Lake Griffin, Emerald, which I've never heard of, even though I grew up not too far from that area, the Villages, and Lisbon. Some of these times you'll get some sneaky small spots that you've never heard of. And for the farther north one, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for southeast Marion County until 9. Severe thunderstorm Ocklawaha, I think I got that right. 7 miles north of the Villages, moving north at 10, 60 and pennies. Again, hopefully not damaging hail, but 60s and pennies. Lynn, Weirsdale, the village of Briar Meadow, Ocklawaha, Moss Bluff, Silver Spring Shores, Lake Weir, Bellevue, and Summerfield. Relatively smaller areas outside of Bellevue and Lake Weir, Silver Springs, the eastern side of Ocala. So right now, this severe thunderstorm warning looks to stay east of Ocala in Marion County, sliding by the Villages and Wildwood. There is more north push now than west push, at least at this point in time. So again, that's a summary of the north severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 9 o'clock. 3/4 inch size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. The one farther south, north at 6, with the Lake Lady Lake area and the Villages included in that. And then again, you have this flash flood warning for 2 hours for Leesburg, for basically the Leesburg proper area. All right, let me go back to the chat. Center of the chain of lakes. Okay, got it, Keith. Thank you. Tsunami alert for Hawaii now. Okay. Okay. So a potential 8.7 earthquake off of the coast of Russia is now springing new tsunami alerts, apparently for Hawaii. I can't look myself. I am trusting what you guys are saying at this point in time. I'm obviously focused on our severe storms here, but if you know anyone who lives in Hawaii, make sure that they're aware that potentially there could be a tsunami alert either coming or already issued. Because an 8.7 is absolutely insane. Again, that's gone. That'll go bye-bye. This storm is picking up. You can see more lightning now. Baldwin Park, Union Park, Goldenrod, Winter Park. Just an intense cell. It's not moving much. It's basically stationary. Maitland's starting to get some rain out of this as well. Eatonville, Fairview Shores, right up towards Castleberry. So kind of basically, following along 17 there. Castleberry, our friends in Longwood and Winter Springs. Lake Mary getting close. Getting close to getting a little bit of shower there. Again, not extremely intense. But if it can hold together, I think we'll get a little bit of rain there. Maybe even as far northeast as Sanford. We've certainly filled in the radar a little bit behind everything, but it's all very spotty. and it's all very light, relatively speaking. All right, again, before we get too close to sunset, let's get back over to our winter garden camera. I'm going to throw this camera in the lake and get a new camera for everyone. It should not be happening, but it is. All right, hang on a second. There it is. Give me just 1 second here, guys. This is the first time, actually, that it's done this. So I need to look into why it is dropping off every 15 minutes, because it shouldn't be, but it should pop back on here in a second. It's a neat storm. Live look outside of Winter Garden. Again, we're looking into Lake County. Now, we're not going to get as far, we're not going to be able to punch into the severe thunderstorm. That's too far away. But the far eastern edge of all of that activity, we can still clearly see. And again, sunset is happening behind that cluster of severe storms. So we're going to get backlit, and you're going to get that lightning as well. That's cool. Let me see if I can take this off real quick here. You might lose my mic, but I'm just going to, I want to be able to see that lightning. So let's watch this together real quick, guys. Pretty intense, no doubt about it. Getting a lot of lightning with that storm in Lake County. Just wanted to be able to show you guys that, that camera, I like to get a good perspective of the sky, but that camera, if we need to, we can try and move it down a little bit as well, so you guys can get a little bit better perspective as far as that goes. I'm going to drop my name bar off of here. Sometimes when I bring it on during a live stream and then take it back off, it should go away in 10 seconds, my name bar, but sometimes it doesn't. All right, so again, let's break down what's happening here. So basically that winter garden camera was looking at this activity near Mascot and all of this lightning. It's not far enough north and west up here to pick up all of this, but it's cutting through, and you could see some of that intense lightning, to the south and west of Mascot and Webster. Again, if you're just tuning in, there is some potential flash flooding in the Leesburg area. Now, it is good to see that a lot of the heavier rain is getting out of Leesburg right now. That's important. We got to get the areas that have already had up to 4 inches of rain. We got to stop the rain from continuing to fall. Any additional rain is going to cause additional problems. So let's get that out of here. We don't want to see additional cells that we're seeing right now redevelop into Lake County, right? We don't want that to occur. It's spotty in nature right now, but in just the last half hour, if I loop this up again for you guys real quick, you can see that we've really filled back in fairly quickly through Lake and a lot of Orange County. We did it in a hurry. None of this is severe, not even a special weather statement, but we've really filled back in the rain and some lightning now as far north as Sanford, all the way back down towards Oak Ridge. What are you guys seeing? Let me know in the comments section below. You got a quick second, thanks for hitting that like button. Thanks for subscribing as well. But we've filled back in the rain here. Lake County, portions of Orange County, and still obviously the most intense activity here, northern sides of Lake, but now kind of streaming into portions of Sumter and into Marion counties. And you guys see why, by the way, that I have the lightning data filtered. This is not even all of the lightning strikes, because there's so much intense lightning being produced out of this that, if I were to zoom out just a little bit, you can see all of the icons on here. This would just literally cover the screen. But again, it's an indication that these storms continue to be quite intense. The lightning count has only gone up. We're now up to over 200 lightning strikes in this view in just the past 15 minutes. A lot of lightning. We're out, noisy storms. Those who don't like to be involved in heavier thunderstorms, it's not a fantastic evening for you up there. This thunderstorm has not moved in Putnam County. It has not even gotten into western sides of Flagler County. We've had a little bit of heavier rain in St. Augustine. I know Blue Goose is always watching. You know, it's coming, it's losing steam as it gets into St. Augustine, but there should at least be some activity there. And look at this. You know, again, is this cell picking back up? Just take that off, make it a little bit easier to see. If I want to track it, I can track it. I don't know, but you can clearly see, I mean, Winter Park, Eatonville, Maitland, Altamont Springs, Castleberry, this is all connected together all the way up towards Lake Mary and even just west of Sanford. You got it, Gina. My pleasure. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks again for your support. If you would like to support the channel, there are certain ways you can do that. First of all, you can find direct links to PayPal and Venmo in the description below the channel. Super thanks are now available on the channel as well. That is the heart button if you want to help support the channel in that way. Very simple ways to also support: liking and subscribing to the channel. I appreciate all of those who have found those various ways. Those who do, you know, support through the links that you guys see in the description, send messages to you guys who do it that way. Those who do the super thanks, and those who like and subscribe. All of those help to support the channel in various ways, and that is very much appreciated as we continue to grow. Again, quickest, easiest thing to do, hit that subscribe button. Join us. Remember, this is a live only channel. I'm only on when there is intense, impactful weather to talk about here in the Central Florida area. And that includes coast to coast, north to south. We don't have any geographic borders here on CFLW. We're going to cover it all. And I do a Monday and Friday live show at 1 o'clock generally, just to keep in touch with you guys, to give you guys an idea of what I'm thinking in the week ahead. Monday's show covers the rest of the work week. Friday's show is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And a lot of you who join me in the chat right now, join me for those live streams, and I appreciate those who do. Hey, Jacqueline, Ocoee, lots of clouds forming overhead, some lightning and rubbles in the distance. Got a good amount of rain here earlier. The yard is happy for sure. Thanks for the stream with the information. You got it, Jacqueline. Appreciate you tuning in from Ocoee there, western Orange County. Just east of Lake Apopka and Winter Garden, just east of our camera. There is the Ocoee area. So again, severe thunderstorm warning here for Lady Lake. That is going to go until 9 o'clock. So for the next 18 minutes. Still some very intense, heavy rain and lightning there. Moving into the southeast side of of Marion County, south and east of Ocala. So here's 441 and 301. Now look, there is some populated areas here east of Bellevue and 441. Some. But the vast majority of the Marion County population, as you'll see, is up here clustered in Ocala. So, you know, it's not a good scenario to have it for these folks, but if we can keep it out of the even more populated areas of Ocala, that would be a good thing. Still have to watch out for the, you know, the size of the hail. It's close, it's teetering up, potential destructive. You got to get mainly to nickel size or 0.88 inches. So right now we have 0.75. Trying to retest this one more time here, guys. Give me just 1 second. All right. What I want to do is hopefully, let me see here. I want to try and get these times to come back on for these. Oh. Aha. Okay, so they've replaced it now with a special weather statement. Makes sense. All right. So let's do this. Let's go back over to our camera. And it looks like we've just lost daylight enough where we're going to go into our night vision mode, but you're going to still see a lot of lightning with that. I'm going to reset the weather computer behind the scenes here to get that newest information for you guys, but we'll take a look at this cool camera as well. Yeah, does anyone else have any more information on that earthquake? That is nuts. 8.7 tsunami alerts for Hawaii. Again, from Winter Garden, we're looking at the storm in Lake County. Let's check out Conway. Conway That's a cool shot. Right near sunset there at Conway. It's just a little bit too far south of where some of the activity has redeveloped in Orange County. Again, it's not extremely intense activity in Orange County, but there's certainly been more than I expected that have cropped back up here, in the short term. And of course, always, I'm keeping an eye out on the Disney area. And we're back to our night vision camera here for the attractions area. Again, still could see a couple of showers here. Southwest sides of Orange County look okay for the most part. All right. So back over to, I should bring myself back on camera. There we go. All right, back over to the weather computer. And let's pick up on the changes to what were happening here. Now we still have the severe thunderstorm warning for northern Lake County. The severe thunderstorm warning that was in effect for southeast Marion County has been replaced with a special weather statement, and they just decided to cluster all of this together up into Putnam County as well. I mean, there's a crap ton of lightning being produced out of this right now. Notice that it's winds of 40 miles an hour. To reiterate, lightning and rainfall have nothing to do with severe thunderstorm criteria. You can have the most intense lightning storm over your head and not even have a severe thunderstorm warning or a special weather statement because it's only about hail size and winds. So again, some of the areas with this new special weather statement that go until 9:15, some of this is going to be portions of Putnam County. Some of this is going to be far the southeast sides of Marion County. Right now, the Weather Service is still holding on to our severe thunderstorm warning for the Lady Lake Fruitland Park area until 9 o'clock. Winds of 60 miles an hour and some 3/4 inch size hail. And we have our flash flood warning for portions of the Leesburg area that go until 10:30. And again, there's not a lot of rain there now. That's great news. But the actual advisory here from the National Weather Service was mentioning how there are Doppler estimates of 3 to 5 inches already. Okay, an additional 1 to 2. So 4 to 7 inches of rain possible. Flash flooding from thunderstorms, flooding of small creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets and underpasses, poor drainage areas, low-lying areas, the areas that collect water first. That's where we could have that. These are all kind of moving north and west and or just developing. Clipped it. This cluster is moving north and northwest. This over Orange County has kind of just redeveloped. There's very weak steering currents in the atmosphere right now. These puppies are moving at about 5 miles an hour at most. As a matter of fact, the severe thunderstorm warning again was north at 6 miles an hour. So there's not a lot of forward movement to them. We've pushed them mainly west or northwest and then just redevelopment over Orange County. And it's been very erratic. Not really any true, forward motion with any of this. A little bit more lightning back over Altamont Springs and Maitland and Wintermore Park at the hour and over towards Apopka as well. But not a ton. But yeah, very, very slow, erratic movement overall. Oop, wrong button. There we go. But great question. Appreciate you jumping in, Clipped It. Thanks for the comment. Even a little bit of a shower right now back over Orla Vista in Metro West. So what I would say is, this is what I expect, all right? This is going to more than likely even stay under special weather statement criteria, but additional rain and storms right over Orlando, and it's holding together a little bit at this point in time. We're past sunset now, so it's going to be very, very hard for this to get any stronger than what it was, all right? You notice that we've lost the severe thunderstorm warning in the northwest sides of Lake County. More than likely, that is not going to be reissued. This cell doesn't look to be as intense. Special weather statements, intense, yes. Severe thunderstorm intense, probably not. This is a good core here, but it's in mainly rural areas south of 50 in Mascot and Montverde. So, when we look at things, and you still are going to have a couple of showers and storms in Osceola and in Polk counties, most of the both west and east coast should remain dry. These should mainly be interior storms. Now, if you live in Ocala, right, from the Wildwood area to the Villages to Bellevue and to Ocala, it's a light show south and east of you right now. This is trying to eke your way, but the core of it is just off towards your east. But the Ocala area would be one of the larger population zones that could still have an intense storm roll through. Hey DJ Jason 43 pouring in Crescent City. I got you, buddy, right here. Crescent City area. And that cell has not moved. It just hasn't moved. And, so again, portions of the Crescent City, Putnam County area could be another candidate for some kind of a flash flood warning, right? When these cells don't move like this, you obviously have intense activity where you could see some, severe thunderstorm criteria, strong winds, hail, that's a problem. But when they sit for a long enough time, then you transition into a flood threat. And that's what we're seeing. I'm going to switch back over to the composite radar, and I'm going to drop the Melbourne radar off for just a second. And the reason why I want to do so is I'm just going to loop this up over the last 6 hours. This should be a full 6-hour loop. It is. So if you're just tuning in, it's been a very interesting day. First of all, we had some 100-degree temperatures. Tampa and St. Pete both had 120-degree feels-like temperatures today for the first time ever, the hottest feels-like temperature they've ever had. We had rogue storms developing. We had a 55-mile-an-hour wind gust in downtown Orlando. We can verify that in a second. And then we had a 52-mile-an-hour wind gust in Leesburg. And that's, again, pulse, small thunderstorms, came up quickly, produced very strong winds and some hail, and then died back down very quick. Some of the life cycle, if you will, of these thunderstorms earlier in the afternoon were only a half hour. Call them pulse thunderstorms, right? But once these storms clustered up in Lake County, they were going to hold together longer. And that's been the biggest impact over the last 2 hours. Western Orange County into Lake County, now southeast sides of Marion County. And again, heavier thunderstorms even up towards Putnam County, where we've transitioned into, still some intense storms, but now these areas have had enough rain over a long enough time period, we're starting to get some flood concerns being produced out of this. Again, earlier in the day, we had some pretty nasty storms that kind of developed over portions of Hillsborough County and Manatee and Sarasota counties. You can see the wind gusts there. Tampa had a 40. And again, we had a couple of special weather statements down here, monitoring the situation for you guys there. We had a more isolated but severe across Citrus and Pasco and Hernando counties. A couple of showers developed over Brevard County earlier. And again, those were nothing more than showers before they pulled on shore. Now, the interesting thing is that the reason why we had that one special weather statement here is that you can see that the wind picked up. What was the biggest that MCO had here? 30, 33, 30, 43. So that's why they issued the special weather statement. Remember, I was always wondering, why did they do that? They got up to a 43 there. Earlier in downtown Orlando, I don't know if it'll pick it up. It should. This storm right around 4 o'clock, 53 was the number. They issued a special weather statement and it died down in 10 minutes. It was gone and they canceled the special weather statement early. So again, pulse thunderstorms. But is Citra going to get missed? I might have to do a little bit of geographic homework here. Where is Citra compared to Crescent City? I may not have everything on here, or I may have to zoom in very close. Let me know where Citra is relative to Crescent City, clipped it, and I'll be happy to answer. I know 95% of places, but every so often one in an area that I haven't covered much will trip me up. Because I feel like I know another Citra and it's nowhere near there. The Reddick area. Okay, that's what I was wondering. I was like, Citra is near Anthony and Reddick, right? Yeah, I got you. That's Micanopy. I may not have Anthony and Reddick on here, or I have to zoom in real close. Well, there's Reddick. All right. I would say that you're not going to get hit by this. It would have to be what's going on here in Bellevue for it to get up to Anthony and Reddick and Citra areas. But again, as we hit 9 o'clock, we're losing the heat of the day. And these storms should begin to lose some of their intensity and lose some of their coverage. So I would put it at only about a 30% chance that we actually hold this together to get it as far north as the northern sides of Marion County. Yep, I got you, clipped it. You know, you were mentioning Crescent City earlier. For some reason, I was like, is there a Citra over there? Like, I know there's a Citra somewhere else that my mind just can't, get a grasp on right now. But, I grew up in Citrus County, man, so I know these areas. Micanopy, Citra, Reddick, Anthony, I got you, buddy. Yeah, I would only put it at a slim chance because this is winding down already, and this is not going to go that far west. The new special weather statement with this activity is actually even east towards 1792 in the Pearson area. They should come down relatively quick. Now, if they are clustered like this, it's gonna take longer for that to happen, all right? It's gonna take longer. And look, I wanna be clear, it's not like they are coming down with the snap of a finger because we have another special weather statement here, back into these areas where we didn't have one. They're for 50-mile-an-hour winds, but coming down fast, I don't know if I want to say that they're coming down fast. They should be coming down in intensity, but it might take a little bit for that to happen, right? Not expecting them to just fall off a cliff through the 9 o'clock hour. Private caller says arrows, please. I got you, man. The reason why I took it off is because it's slow, erratic movement. And when that occurs, there's a lot of times that maybe the individual cell within the larger cluster is potentially going in a different direction. And I don't want to get people confused. Like, I don't buy that this cell is actually drifting that far north and east, right? It's more than anything just developing than anything. What I would say is that generally speaking, this activity is moving west-northwest, and this activity in Orange County is kind of just evolving with very slow and erratic movement, right? If we had a little bit better actual traditional movement with these storms, I think we could put on those cells and I'd be a little bit more confident in what we're seeing. But a lot of this is just analysis in real time, looping it up, seeing how these have evolved. Again, these haven't gotten any more intense, but they've gotten more widespread, right? Sanford, Lake Mary, Water Springs, Wekiva Springs, Altamont Springs, Lockhart, the Apopka area now with some showers, a little bit heavier rain over 429 and 441. Same situation towards Winter Park, nice little shower over Orla Vista, but that's it. When we zoom in, if I zoom in enough to cut off the Lake County stuff, the amount of lightning in the last 15 minutes in Orange County has basically been 4 lightning strikes, including portions of Seminole County as well. You get over into Lake County and you get into this area, you've got 28 lightning strikes here, still relatively intense. We had 200 lightning strikes here earlier. We're down to 164. So again, one of the precursors to seeing this activity wane a little bit in intensity is you start to see the lightning count come down a bit. It's beginning to fall, but still, that's impressive at 15. I use the National Weather Service radar. Is that accurate? Yes, no? Yeah. So, depending on what system you use, I am looking at the individual radar site out of the Melbourne area right now. My system has access to each individual radar by itself or collectively, the composite, we can put that on. So when I'm in real-time mode, I'm more than likely going to use just one radar site. It's a better analysis tool. When I want to show you what's been trending over the last several hours, I'll put it into the composite radar. That's a better presentation when it comes to kind of looping things up. And you guys can get a better idea as far as that goes. Plus, the loop on this system, when you're using one radar site, is only 30 minutes long. It's literally real-time analysis. Just want to check out the hail here. Still pinging a little bit of hail east of Bellevue towards 40, and again, the Ocala National Forest on the outskirts of where we do have some populated areas, right? If you live in the Pearson area, still a little bit of hail near the St. John's. Again, very large special weather statement. And this is why we have this special weather statement here. Now, this is relatively no man's land. Ridge Manor, Lacucci. And again, very little forward speed. So south and west of Groveland, south of Webster, County Road 471. That's an intense storm with a lot of hail. That's why that special weather statement probably here is, where we're pinging at least half-inch size hail. Now, the special weather statement doesn't actually include hail in it, but this probably pulsed up in just the last little bit. So this one was for a strong thunderstorm 9 miles southwest of Mascot, moving south at 5, winds of up to 50. And again, these are pretty rural areas. Webster, Terrytown, the Green Swamp, again, new one for me, and Lacahuchi. And again, I'm from around these parts, as they say, but there's some smaller areas that these radar systems will pick up on that I've even never heard of. Hey, William. Melbourne in the house. Hot, humid day here. Heat advisories every day. Don't mind the heat. Yep, William, I agree that it's going to be ramping up pretty soon as well. No doubt about it. It's that time of the year, right? We've had 3 named storms, but there are signals that the disturbances coming through the Atlantic Basin are going to be getting a little bit more intense and holding together as they get a little bit closer to us. I cover that over on the Media Mundo side, and on the Monday and Friday shows here on CFLW from time to time, we'll chat about what's going on with hurricane season as well. So I encourage you guys to tune in for those. And again, even if you can't watch the live version of those become recorded videos under the live tab of the CFLW YouTube channel here. So you can watch them at your leisure, watch them at your convenience. You can watch them later that night, either the next day. They cover multiple days of activity. We'll go back over to our winter garden camera here as we hit 9 o'clock. Again, still seeing a pretty intense thunderstorm there back into Lake County. Still some special weather statements associated with that. Just a lot of lightning. It's just an intense storm here. And again, what was that? Did you guys almost see like a little streak? What? Those must be like fireflies or something. You guys see those bugs streaking across? I was like, can't be a meteor, is it? Yeah, you got these little bugs coming in front of the camera, but they look like they're streaks of light. Pretty cool. And again, so we're on like night vision mode now because we've lost all daylight. So you're still seeing all the lightning flashing with this. There's our Conway cam. It's now into night vision mode as well. But again, looking back off to the east, things are a little bit quieter. A couple of bugs there as well. And then our Disney camera. Again, this is just 1 mile from the Magic Kingdom. Always keep an eye on this. At this point in time, southwest sides of Orange County, including Lake Buena Vista and the I-Drive corridor, are nice and quiet. All right, so back out here. Again, we've been on now for nearly 2 hours. And I appreciate all your support too. So let's reset the scenario here. The storm moving Ocala is following behind that one. On NAVIS radar, the storm moving Ocala is following behind that one. Is that true or no? I'm not sure I understand the question. This here, if I loop it up for you in just the last half hour, this is mainly moving north. It's building a little west, but like Ocala would probably be, kind of skirted by this. It's going to be more intense east of Ocala. You can clearly see that. I'm not going to say there's not going to be a downpour or two in the Ocala area, especially east of downtown. You can see that kind of building in right now, but not as intense. And even the lightning count here is coming down a bit. So now that we've hit 9 o'clock, we're starting to lose a little bit of this. It's good, though, that this part is not in Ocala proper, because there's probably some smaller hail, down State Road 40 here east of Ocala associated with that. When you see those purples and those fuchsias and those blues, those, kind of neon colors, those are very intense areas of the thunderstorm, producing heavy rain and or some hail. Didn't get any, did you, Blue Goose? Nope. Been on for a little bit here, Chessie. You know, it just depends, right? Just depends. We're going to cover this activity as long as I see fit. Just want to make sure here. I honestly thought that we'd be completely done here at 9 o'clock. We're winding down, right? Intensity's come down a little bit. You can see the lightning count dropping each and every minute. Those are all signs that we're seeing the intense part of these thunderstorms beginning to wrap up, but there are still pockets of very intense weather associated with this. Now, in these areas, we're in relatively rural spots. That's good news. They're still not moving very quickly, so kind of concerned about that. It's really good to see that the flash flood warning area in Leesburg is basically void of any rain and has been that way, because again, the report has been up to 5 inches of rain here in portions of the Leesburg area. The flash flood warning goes until 10:30. Now look, Weather Service could, expire that a little bit early if they want to, if they don't think that flash flooding is occurring or could still occur based on some of the radar trends. But again, up to 5 inches of rain in some of these areas, okay? And again, it's not like we're completely done. I want to be very clear. In Orange County, maybe you're viewing from Winter Garden or Apopka or Altamont Springs, or even up in Seminole County from Sanford area back down to Lake Mary. And then again, southern sides of Orange County, Metro West, MCO. We're going to get passing showers and storms for the next hour or two. I don't expect them to pulse up and become so intense they produce special weather systems. I might eat my words on that, but we've already had a couple of rounds of storms here, and if they haven't pulsed up as of now, that chance continues to fade. You get a little bit farther west, a little bit more instability with things, and again, one area where it's out there by itself, way out there in the middle of no man's land, but that storm near Ridge Manor is looking pretty healthy at the hour as well. And again, eastern sides of eastern sides of Marion County. The numbers that you see, by the way, are wind gusts in miles an hour. Now that we've hit 9 o'clock, we have to take a look at the current temperatures too. So Ocala is still at 88 degrees. Inverness is still in at 88 degrees. Tampa has rebounded to 88 degrees at 9 o'clock. Absolutely amazing. And again, a couple of notes. Tampa Sunday had their first 100 degree ever in recorded history. And both Tampa and St. Pete today had their first ever 120 feels like temperatures. Yes, in the afternoon hours, they had a feels like temperature of 120 in Tampa for today. So William, it's part of it for sure. You got to remember too, though, that we had this Saharan air layer in play, and we actually have high pressure or sinking and subsiding air, which can put a cap on the storm. So the intense heat is just one ingredient in the thunderstorm stew, if you will. But we didn't have all the ingredients for today. But there's no doubt that the intense heat played a part. When you can, what we call break the cap or get thunderstorms to develop, there's going to be explosive development with all of the heat that we've had lately. There's no doubt about that. That's part of the equation. But there are reasons why that the storms, at least earlier in the day, were much more isolated in nature, compared to being much more scatter or widespread, right? There were limiting factors to some areas. The sea breeze did kick on shore from the east, and we had a little bit of that as well. Hail for Hawthorne, not that I've seen. Are you picking up any? I have to switch over to... Am I wrong? Now Hawthorne's up east of Gainesville, right? Yeah. I was like, I went to UF. I know Hawthorne is near Gainesville. I would say no. Trazi, no. Would not expect hail for Hawthorne. Yeah, don't worry about it, Clipped It. Man, I appreciate you finding the channel. We have a great community, fantastic people. We can get you through these storms. And I understand that anxiety. Again, I've lived through some intense stuff. I mean, kind of I'm focused on covering it, but I get the idea, man. You know, especially when I lived in Oklahoma City and, you know, we were covering tornadoes and they were heading either towards the station or towards the house. You know, that anxiety went up a little bit. You're like, oh boy, you know, is it my time to get hit by this? But I understand, no doubt about it. Okay, so tsunami watch now for the entire west coast of the U.S. Okay. Yeah, I haven't had an opportunity to jump in and check that out, but once I get off of the live stream, I'll keep an eye out on that too. It's a bad situation. Not that I want to jump away too far. By the way, that is just a test. My sister picks up on that. I don't know. I don't. I'm going to assume, I'm letting something load up on my system here. I mean, look, if there's really a tsunami watch for the entire West Coast, not that we would cover that on this channel, but I think it's of national interest to check that out. Again, please ignore that. So there are weather service offices that do test products here. What I'm doing is I'm actually loading up all the National Weather Service advisories. And I think I should have the tsunami ones on here. There's so much, it takes a minute or two for this to fully load up, guys. I know, okay, I can already see that I have tsunami warning issued here, or a tsunami warning alert if it comes up. Boy, this is taking longer than I hoped. You know, one reason why there's heat advisories for like the eastern 2/3 of the United States. So when this map comes up, it's gonna be most of the US. I don't want to sit here forever. All right, here we go. This is literally like every single watch or warning or advisory. I don't know, let's see here. Marine, small craft. There's your tsunami watch. There you go. Whew, 8.7, 80 miles southeast of, I'm not even gonna try, and it's Russia. So, you know, look, I'm happy to do this. If you know anyone who lives in any of these areas, so they are giving the estimated times of arrival of the potential tsunami start. So obviously Alaska, and again, I would assume this is all local time. So you get towards Washington, and this is going to be, you know, Pacific time, 11:35, so 2:35 our time. Yeah, it's a very serious situation. Yeah, the Aleutian Islands, yeah, Hawaii, yep, I hear you. So yeah, Juneau, tsunami watch there. That's just a small craft advisory, but I think it's going to be the same, right? I don't think that, I think these are all going to be coordinated. But yeah, there you go. And very correct all the way down the coast. Might be another thing to have to keep an eye on here this tonight. Again, it's just a watch, it's not a warning. Let's be clear about that. Yeah, I would imagine there are, Pinky. I actually went on my Media Mundo channel when there was a potential tsunami in the Caribbean. I won't cover this one because it's not an area that I normally cover. But, you know, appreciate you guys sending along that information. And there you go. So all of the west coast of the United States, Hawaii, the Aleutian Islands, Alaska, all under tsunami watches at this point in time. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you guys, look, you know, it took a second to fire up everything. By the way, just to be clear, if I go back out to this map, do you guys just see all the junk that's happening in the United States right now? And by the way, and we mentioned this on the Monday show, it's not as if these are devoid of heat advisories. Those are actually extreme heat warnings, which my system has a hard time picking up on. And that's going to be your flash flood warning here in a county by county format. All right, so back out there, that was a good thing to keep an eye on here. Let's bring back on our lightning data. All right, let's go over these one more time. We'll start off in Orange County. Again, scattered rain, a few thunderstorms through at least this 9 o'clock hour. I don't expect them to pick up more than what we've seen. You could still have a pocket of heavier rain or an isolated rumble of thunder. I mean, again, they're not moving much, but as far as pulsing up to become anything on the stronger side, I don't see it happening at this point in time. All right, just going to switch back over to the winds. No other additional wind gusts have been reported here, but still some downpours. You're heading out for any reason late tonight, you know it's going to stay wet. All right, this cell is intense, but even then, this one looks like it's coming down a bit. Special weather statement here that goes until 9:30 as it moves south into relatively rural areas of mainly Sumter County and into the far southwest sides of Lake County. We still have our flash flood warning for the Leesburg area. It's great to see we haven't had additional rain, but again, up to 5 inches of rain has already fallen in the Leesburg area. That means flash flooding was occurring or was likely to occur. Hopefully, we have no additional flash flooding occurring right now, and potentially the Weather Service could allow that warning to expire early if they don't expect there to be more flash flooding and the water has receded in the spots where we did have ongoing flash flooding. Some thunderstorm activity over the Ocala area right now. It's much more intense far eastern sides of Marion County. This is moving to the north. It's dying out a bit. Still have a special weather statement in this area at this point in time. That one is going to go until 9:45 for Ocala, Fort McCoy, Salt Springs, Juniper Springs, Lynn, Lake Delancey, Spar, Anthony, Silver Springs Shores, and the Santos area. Again, you know, even kind of east here of like 301 where it splits with 441, certainly east of I-75. And then back into Putnam County again, you have a fairly intense storm, but it's beginning to weaken. It's not going to shock me if these are the last special weather statements that we see for the day. All right. You know, anything else, I don't expect there to have the opportunity to really pulse up much more. Oh, no, not at all, Pinky. Look, man, you guys fire away in that chat, all right? If it's something that I want to, you know, delve into, we'll delve into it. If it's something that I want to mention, I'll mention it. If it's something we need to talk about and put aside, we'll do that. But that's why we're doing this, friends. You know, again, you know, I need to get you guys kind of in the same mode that I want all of us to be on. And that's, you know, the chat is an open forum, right? We have a couple of moderators where if anyone stupid gets in the chat and they say some stupid stuff, they'll be kicked out, they'll be banned. But obviously everyone and most people are very, very cordial in the chat. And I love that interaction. That's why I'm doing this, right? Because in real time, we can talk about these storms, we can talk about weather events, we can talk about a lot of different things. And that constant contact, that communication is really why I'm doing this. By the way, I don't want to pass up, but Gabby says thundering hard here in Orlando. So again, you saw that there were pockets of more intense cells in the Orlando metro area, even a little bit more lightning right now near Lake Mary. So our friend who was joining us in Lake Mary earlier probably got some of it as well. And again, you see Farah, her name is in blue. She's got a wrench. We've got Fiona as well. They are moderators of the chat. And I appreciate those folks being moderators and jumping in and reminding you guys to make sure you like and subscribe. Cam Contra reporting water rising. I mean, with an 8.7, I would assume. Remember, the Richter scale is logarithmic. So the difference between a 7 and an 8 is logarithmically higher. I don't have a number for you, but it's not just, you know, like on a number scale. And then from an 8 to an 8.7 is even that much higher. 8.7 is crazy. All right. Raise your hand if you've had dinner tonight. Literally, I was about ready to sit down and have dinner, and I looked and I told my wife, I go, you know what? I don't think it's happening. I gotta get on the air. There's too much. So I think it's dinner time for me at 9:20. I think we're good here. Look, still, if you live in Marion County, again, that storm could be a little bit stronger, but most of this is into relatively rural areas. Nothing else that I see I think is going to be intense. I think any opportunity for any additional stronger storms has gone by the wayside for now. Well, I want anything, Rebecca. Ice cream would be perfect right now. I'm going to actually have some real food though, but now it's like too late for ice cream. Now I can't even have ice cream. Gotta watch the old figure. But ice cream for dinner. No bacon tonight? No. Farrah remembers one of the other live streams where I'm sitting up here and all I smell is bacon because my wife is cooking bacon for the family and I just have to deal with it. You know, that was torture. You guys don't even know, right? Because who doesn't love bacon? I just wanted to stop and have some bacon, but I couldn't. No doubt about it. It's a great idea. You're right. I'm going to go find something. Friends, I think we're good. Couple of things, and please stick around for this. First of all, CFLW is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. I've got their Tumblr that Bobby gave me, and you see their website at the bottom of your screen. They are fantastic partners with a growing channel like this. To have them as a sponsor is very, very important. Now look, we never like to think about having to contact a lawyer when we got something going on, but if you have storm damage of any kind, they cover the entire state of Florida from Pensacola all the way down to the Keys. You get wind, you get hail, you get hurricane damage, you have any issues with the insurance company, they can walk you through every step of the insurance claim process, and they do offer free consultation and policy reviews. So nothing to lose. You want an advocate on your side, go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Check them out for sure. Please take a quick second, like the live stream. Thank you for subscribing as well. Thanks for those who have found other ways to support the channel. I appreciate all of that. You can find that in the description below. Again, the super things are now open for the channel as well. As always, I always monitor the situation. If there's any reason to come back on, I will. I think we're good today, but I'll be monitoring again throughout the rest of the week. And if I need to come back on or have the radar stream live, I'll do that for us. You guys know I got you covered, which is why you should have the notifications on. Again, this is a live only channel. I'm not gonna inundate you with video updates or anything like that. So if you guys are familiar with YouTube, if you look at the bell icon, that's the notifications, you click on that, there'll be a couple of different tiers of notifications for the channel. I do suggest having all notifications on because that way you'll know when I'm live. You can jump on and join the chat, join the live stream, see if it's anything that's gonna be impacting you. Join us again. And outside of this, Monday and Fridays, I do the live shows at 1 o'clock. Okay, now you guys are just killing me because all you're doing is talking about food. So I'm getting out of here. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll keep an eye on the storms. If nothing else, at the latest, I'll see you guys Friday at 1 o'clock. I'm going to go eat. Bye.